I'm in Scotland and this is about to be an epic day for what lies behind this shutter. We couldn't have come on a road trip up to Edinburgh in my Aston Martin Vantage GT8 and not come to check this out, to be reunited with the car that is inside. Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where come on in, because this is one of only 15 in the world of the Lamborghini Reventon Roadster. We're here outside of Edinburgh visiting the Scotland Lamborghini Collection. When we had come up for Gumball 3000 with the Zenvo, we met up with the bright red Lamborghini Countach for a drive out to the Cairngorms, but today I find myself with the key here to the Reventon Roadster, a car that I last rode in with Tommy at Super Ventura about 8.5 years ago, and today we're about to take it out. In much the same setup that I have at home, we are on a farm, in a barn, surrounded by epic cars, including the very same Reventon Roadster. You pronounce it as Reventon, a B rather than a V, named after a famous fighting bull, a Spanish fighting bull, for a car that really led the way. You could consider this like the Murci SV Roadster, and I'll explain a little bit more about it, but this is one of only about 2 or 3 right-hand drive examples of the Roadster in the world that came after the 20 Coupes, and today, thanks to the very kind owner of it, we're about to get this started and take it out. We're about to go out for a drive, despite the fact that it's actually about 0 degrees here. It is freezing point, very cold, but the sun's out, and the owner is not afraid of driving it. All respect in the world for that. Let's have a quick intro, get it started, and go out and see what the Reventon Roadster is like. I'm not completely ignoring the other cars that are here at the moment, and this is only part of the collection, which will soon be housed in a new venue that's currently being built, but others are out for service and maintenance and things like that. Back here though is the Diablo GT, one of the holy grails of the Diablo models, one of a few different Diablos that are actually part of the full collection. There is a Friends Defender tucked in behind the Countach, which was the latest of the few-off series hypercars from Lamborghini that began with the Reventon Coupe. There are 112 of these. It's amazing to see it again. The specification of this particular car is stunning. If we come through though, I'm sure you have spotted this, the Singer DLS, the Dynamics Lightweight Study. This is the Peppermint Commission in the peppermint paint. It looks amazing. We've got the Aventador Miura behind, which was a special celebration of the LP700 to its ancestry with the original Miura. We've got a Balboni edition Gallardo, manual Gallardo V10 there, and a 718 GT4. But we're here today to focus on this, the Reventon Roadster. There is a charm I love that these cars are here in a barn, just like my Shmee-mobiles back at home, but this is a Reventon Roadster. This is the one that was originally delivered here in the United Kingdom. This is a crazy machine, and I think not too many people actually understand what this actually is. It's effectively an LP670 SV, Super Veloce Roadster, something that they never actually made. The Roadster of the Reventon and the Coupe are actually quite different. The Coupe, they were 20 originally, in a darker paint shade of the satin grey than the Roadster. Of course, the biggest difference is the change of the roof. There is a fabric roof that you can install. It's a bit of an awkward contraption for the Murcielago and the LP640 Roadster that can also go on this. I think we're going to be taking it out without in a moment, but back here we've got the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12. In the Reventon Coupe it made 640-650 horsepower like the LP640. In the Roadster that was taken up ahead of the introduction of the SV to the 670 horsepower of the LP670. Not many people realise that. You've got the E-gear gearbox, the automated manual, you've got permanent all-wheel drive, you've got the wheels, which if I show you these, exclusive to the car, have these carbon fibre blade inserts, absolutely look the part, full carbon fibre bodywork, very much fighter jet inspired, and when this was then followed up by the introduction of the Aventador, a lot of people thought when they saw these for the first time that they were looking at Reventon's because the design was carried through. So this was really giving us a hint at the time of what was coming next. It's a very, very low cut front window and roofline. You're almost looking out over the top of it when you're sat inside. And in fact, if I come round and just open up the doors, of course, well, proper Lambo doors, but check this out, driven despite the Scottish weather, which is the ultimate in cool. Lift up the doors, which open straight vertically, and inside you've got the carbon bucket seats, you've got all of these grey different shades, Alcantara, you've got the plaque in the middle, limited edition, 15 cars. They weren't numbered. The Coupes were numbered of 20, but you can always look up the details of these cars on exclusive car registry, as I often do. But this thing is absolutely the epitome of cool, and we're about to get it started. We're about to take it out. We're about to go and have some fun. So let's fire up the beast, awaken the raging bull, and get it out onto the roads of Scotland. It's time then to take this and go and get this car started and pull it out of the barn to go for a bit of a drive. So, Lamborghini style, doors of course open upwards. I love seeing some splatters of mud on the side of this, the fact that this car has actually been driven and used since of course I last sat in this a long old time ago. Not the easiest thing to slide into, except for the lack of a roof certainly makes it easier. I feel like even my eye line, and I'm not particularly tall, is looking straight at the windshield, but nonetheless, key in, turn it, wake this thing up. It feels like a sense of occasion already. And then let's fire up the V12. Right, door down, fly off handbrake off, into gear, and let's pull this out of the barn. We're a few miles in on greasy Scottish roads, and this thing is absolutely unreal to drive. You might be able to see and certainly hear that in front of me is the DLS, and my word, the sounds that come out of that car's engine, which we might see some more of very soon, are absolutely bonkers. But driving in this, it's like a Murcielago. It's incredibly awkward. Your seating position is slightly in towards the middle, so what you perceive as straight isn't straight. The steering wheel only moves up and down. It has no forwards and backwards, so it never feels completely right. I do like the seats, big fan of the seats, and obviously with this very low slung window line, you're basically sticking out above it, and there's a lot of wind in your face. You can install the fabric soft top. Nobody's ever made a hard top contraption that you could pop onto the Roadster Murcielagos. We've got the E-gear gearbox, which actually works better than you think. It's often something that gets ruined in reviews for being atrocious, and obviously everybody now wants the manuals. But I'm alright with it. It takes a little bit of work. It's kind of a halfway manual, as you need to adjust the throttle pedal. But to me right now, as we drive towards the sunset, this is absolute heaven. I mean, we're not doing anything crazy. We're taking it easy. I've just got that wail of the flat six in front. And I've got to apologise if the dirt from the road on the windscreen means that the camera can't handle looking forwards, but we'll deal with that, because how often do you go out in a Reventon with a DLS? Brain is trying to compute, take in this situation. Let me maybe just drop back a touch, because we're following somebody at a slower pace at the moment. Second gear in here. The V12. It's such a unique Murcielago sound. Raw, agricultural. That is insane. This convoy is insane. Positioning this thing on the road is insanely difficult because it's a wedge. It is so much wider at the back. And I hope you can hear me fine, because it's quite noisy with that, with this, with the wind in the hair. But there's something about driving on a winter's day like this, with no roof on the car. There's something that makes this feel really quite special. This car feels really quite special. It feels old now, I'm not going to lie, despite being, what, 15 years or so? It feels a little bit dated, but it represents something really special that's gone on to be an immense story for Lamborghini. The few off-series cars, the line from the Reventon through the Sesto Elemento, the Aventador J, the Veneno, the, what else has there been, Centenario, Sian and the Countach, some with open-top variants, some without. And you might be aware that this collection includes a Sesto Elemento, which has recently been on display at Lamborghini Edinburgh. Unfortunately, that car has been transported elsewhere for the moment. But to be in here, listen to this. The power delivery is amazing. It actually feels lighter and a little bit more nimble than you might think as well. The background sounds of this video are literally just wails of 6-cylinder and 12-cylinder engines. I don't know if following's a good idea or a bad idea. It sounds amazing, but it might eventually sound a little bit too much. Second gear. Wow! This is potent. 670 horsepower. More than I expected, or more of a feel than I expected. Absolute madness. This is perfection. This is heaven right now. This is insane. This is just so cool to be up here driving like this. The road opens up for us. And listen, I'm not going Mach 10 in an unfamiliar, exceptionally valuable car. I mean, these were priced at 1.1 million euros when they were introduced. Of course, since then, considering the rarity, exclusivity, I don't even know, more than that for sure. But either way, respect someone else's vehicle, enjoy the roads and the opportunity to drive it here. I mean, this is nuts to be driving this thing on these kind of roads up here on what is actually the first day of the year. It's January 1st, 2024. Okay, round a corner like that, it feels big. This is literally a dream right now. The shifts are so much quicker than I expected them to be. Watch out for the curbs. Love it. There's a car keeping up behind as well, who is certainly enjoying the opportunity to follow these two. Oh, this is such a cool way to spend a winter's day. I'm just lucky there isn't snow on the ground. There's a cyclist ahead who's about to be in for a bit of a shock, so watch out for some of the potholes. Tell you what, second gear in here is good, without having to go too low through the gears. Right now, this is silly. This is absolutely silly. At this point of today, I don't really know whether to like laugh or to cry at the ridiculousness of this. As we drive under the trees here, and I can feel it's a little bit slippy. I mean, it's a cold day to be out with these cars. This is really, really silly actually, but hey. Oh my goodness. We're just pulling in for a moment. Oh my days. Oh my days. Oh boy. Holy smokes, this is cool. I mean, just look at the roads around here. Look at where we are. Endless, amazing roads to go and drive. And these two, I mean, this is special. This is incredibly rare. I mean, out of the 35 of these in the world, how many of them are being driven? How many of them will ever go out and be enjoyed? This thing's just incredible. And then all the time we're on board this, which is now getting even muddier, apologies for that, we're following this thing, the DLS, and the sound of it is absolutely unbelievable. I can't quite explain it. I don't know what it's been like on the video so far, but yeah, quite something. Anyway, this is like the perfect time to drive. This is, for this time of year, it could not be better, other than being really cold, but hey, not complaining too much about that. So let's go hop back in the Rev, keep driving. And one thing I hadn't yet done is put the car into Corsa mode, which changes the gearbox settings. I've now got the DLS behind me, which is both cool because it's behind me, but also sad because we don't have the noise of that thing in front. But in Corsa mode, the shifts get even faster and even more aggressive. And the sound of this wailing through the hills, I just hope that I haven't completely messed up the audio and it's too loud or anything strange like that. The snaps, it's a very organic 12-cylinder engine sound. I'm starting to get more comfortable with the car in general and its size, shape, position, and just all of the unusual characteristics that the Murci and the Reventon have. And I've been lucky to drive a couple of different Murcis over the years. The LP670 SV, the Reventon Coupe, the LP640s, multiple SVs and 640s to be honest. And so I'm familiar with the general experience of it, but this feels really, as Murcis go, very together and tight and just nice. It feels quite right and quite composed, whereas often they can feel like they're really leggy and a bit falling apart almost. And here though, as we head along these roads, this is just the most unbelievable of experiences, and conscious that it's going to be dark very soon. Up here it gets dark super early at this time of year. But in Corsa, the shifts, I mean, listen to them. So we drop it down to second. It's just an unfiltered V12 sound that is truly unbelievable. This is crazy. This is so crazy. We're so cool right now. The way that these roads dip up and down, crests and troughs, lefts and rights. This is such glorious driving. And you can have fun at pretty sensible speeds, and there's nothing like this anywhere where I'm based near London. So coming here, for me, is an absolute delight. To be able to open up the car a little bit. I mean, when have you ever heard a Reventon going through the revs? This is not something that in my experience has often been enjoyed, been heard, been out there. The noise in Corsa is so sharp in comparison to standard. Obviously it's less smooth on the gearbox, but this is just silly. This is absolutely ridiculous to be enjoying it like this. Totally crazy. So watching out what's happening here. Car parked kind of slightly in the road. I really enjoy the drive with the throttle pedal interaction. The E-gear. I know it's not to everyone's taste, especially in a world with the DCTs, dual clutch transmissions we have now. The light going down and the DLS in my mirrors. I mean, you can't see much out of the back through the engine bay intake kind of snorkel that you have behind us. It just sounds mega, although I think what's probably surprising to me is that I know this is vastly louder from outside than it is inside the car. Inside you hear a lot of the tapping of the engine noise. Just drop the gears. Second gear again. The red line is a mad sound in this. An absolutely mad sound. What on earth? This is ridiculous. I didn't expect to love this car as much as this. I thought today that it would be a really cool experience, don't get me wrong, but I thought it would be a bit janky and a bit awkward and a bit kind of, why did I choose to drive this thing? But in reality, that's what makes it emotional, that's what makes it an experience, that's what's making Murcielagos in general shoot up in value right now, because these types of experiences aren't forever. And while the Aventador is far from refined, in comparison with this, it is completely perfect. Whereas the Revuelto, of course, changes that game even further for the next generation. But at this level, this car, this is just totally ridiculous. Totally. I mean, the shifts are way quicker than you would imagine. Way more ferocious in Corsa mode than you could imagine. It's all around just a wild machine. It's a wild experience. It is a crazy thing. And that's what makes it so unbelievably fun. That's what makes this such an amazing thing to get to drive. Not sure what's happened here, but carefully does it as we go past. Oh, a car in a ditch. Eek, I hope they're okay. I had seen the car there earlier when we went the other way, but I had actually thought it was parked there. I hadn't realised it had literally gone into a ditch. That's why we've not been driving completely crazy today, because I don't fancy that happening to us. I would rather stay, you know, on the tarmac, on the right stuff, on the good stuff. It's cold, it's fun, it's just epic. It's absolutely epic. As we're back in a bit of a village, I'm going to take it out of Corsa mode, back into normal. It's fun that Lamborghini still use that same system. You know, Corsa is the most dialed up setting, other than in the STO, where you have Trofeo for race, named after the Super Trofeo, of course, the race series of the one make the noise of the DLS behind. In fact, in a second, I'm actually going to let him go past us, because it'd be fun just to be back behind again for another moment. But at slower speeds, this is easier to drive than I expected. When you're maneuvering and doing 3-point turns, there is definitely a kind of with the clutch as you pull away. You know, that slow speed maneuvering stuff, which, let's be real, you're not doing a whole lot of if you're in a car like this. Let me just indicate that I'm staying to the side. I think he'll go past us. Here we go. Nice. I mean, how can I complain? What a dream day out. What a dream day out. This reminds me of some of the coolest days I've had in the past with some amazing collectors and friends around the world. The likes of 458 Destroyer driving his LaFerrari, Greg B driving the F50, and so many of the cars from the collection. Just a day that I thought was going to be cool, but has become absolutely one to remember forever. One that has been an unbelievable highlight of the year, and it's day one. I mean, some perspective here. It is day one of 2024, and we have done a drive out with the Reventon and the Singer DLS. What is going on? What is going on? Thank you so much to the owner of this collection for this opportunity. Yeah. It was worth coming up to Scotland, every single bit of it, even though New Year celebrations here were a bit chaotic. There were a lot of people in a very small area, and it felt rather claustrophobic. Guys, this has been awesome. I hope I've been able to portray a bit of this experience in the video. Let's get back to base. Well, we're back. The fly-off handbrake is on my right-hand side. It takes some getting used to with the seatbelt to that side. It beeps at you for everything. But this has digital screens. Like, look at the rev counter here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the rev counter on the left side, it's got that really cool display. It sounds insane, but to turn it off, you basically pop it into first gear, then switch it off. More beeps for various different things. I'm sorry it's so dark in here, but this is where air conditioning vents, or rather controls, are hidden behind this flap up top. Got the aftermarket system in here, but your vague controls, window switches, lift system, Corsa mode. Yeah, really, really cool experience. And then obviously the doors open upwards, which is just pure theatre and pure cool. And I feel I'm getting a little bit too old, because getting out is not the easiest thing in the world, even without the roof. But once you are out, my word, what a thing. What a cool thing to drive today. So good. Just look at the styling of this thing, the way they did this with the intakes at the front, obviously preempting the arrival of the Aventador. The super edgy wheel arches, the way this shape is not exactly clean and even. It's so Lamborghini. The side scoops down here for more cooling like you have up top with the bat wings that open up back here. I mentioned earlier this view over the engine bay. You've got the opening here for some cooling through. This is a carbon aero bridge across the top. I mean, the whole bodywork is carbon fiber. And then the view through to the engine bay itself and around the back, this same styling that you've seen up front. The central exhaust back there for all of the sound. And my word, is there a lot of good sound that comes out of this thing. It's really, really something. The doors, just the whole theatre and show of it all is what makes this so special. This is the release catch for the engine bay back here, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do one-handed, but basically opens towards the back. Let me see if I can do this very quickly. Catch it is in here somewhere. See if I can find it, work out how it opens. Literally doing this with you guys so you can see the fiddle. There we go, just managed to reach it. That is hinged from the back, and that is our power plant sitting beneath the cross braces over the top of it and opened up towards the back, which is really quite unusual, but very, very cool. What a special thing, hey? 670 horsepower, 660 Newton meters, the 6-speed e-gear. Actually, we need to open that again in a second to plug it back onto the trickle charger. 660 Newton meters. It's not really about the speed when it's something like this. It's about how special it is, part of a collection like this. Unique, incredible cars. Spot the Gunther Works that's now here as well, the 993 and 964 reimagined cars together. I mean, look at this. What a collection. This is half of the collection. And what an experience with that. No surprise that it's cold today. I think I've said that about 5 times, but even the car has condensation lines on the bonnet, on the hood, like Lamborghini shapes, those hexagonals, triangles, all of the edgy angles and different shapes around it. This has been absolutely incredible. This has been a great start to 2024. I can't believe it. A day like today, driving a car like the Reventon Roadster, being reunited with the car that I went in 8.5 years ago. I first drove the coupe from the Lake House collection out in California 4.5 years ago, summer 2019, I want to say. But now to have driven the Roadster as well, and to have been one of the lucky people to drive so many of these few-off Lamborghini hypercars. I've driven the Reventon Coupe, the Reventon Roadster. I've driven the Veneno Roadster. I've driven the Sian, the Centenario, the Countach. I just haven't driven a Sesto Elemento. I've got an idea here. I've got an idea here brewing for the future. Maybe. Anyway, for now, that is all. Happy New Year. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video coming along for the ride in the Reventon Roadster with the DLS. Might be something with that coming very soon. But for now, that is all. Thanks for your support as always, guys. And I look forward to a very exciting year ahead. That's it for now, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers. And yes, I'm aware I didn't mention the Aventador J. That was a mistake. That was epic. That's it for now. Cheers.